start with the flag salute, known as silence. This meeting has been advertised as a regular business meeting as follows. Posted written notice on official bulletin boards at Endeavor School, CU Land School, and Upper Elementary School. Electronically forwarded written notice to the Burlington County Times. Filing written notice with the clerk of North Hanover Township. Filing written notice with the members and the secretary of this body. Mailing written notice to each person who has requested copies of the regular meeting schedule and who has prepaid any charge fixed for such service. This is in compliance with requirements of Chapter 2, Number 1 of the Open Meetings Law, Public Laws 1975.
Green,
Here.
Ringlinger,
Here.
Knighton, Mara, here, Red.
Here. We do need to exec. Should we do the presentation first?
How long do you need?
20 minutes maybe?
Okay, that's all right. Can you do the presentation first? So we can.
Okay. Alright, so Maria, we're gonna jump to the presentation first. So,
Appreciate that.
There's not a lot of space.
So we have our principals here tonight. I think that they will introduce themselves as they go. But they do come semi-annually to report to all of you. Well, there's mandated reporting on harassment, intimidation, and bullying and self-assessment, which they did the last time they were here. And then there's the student safety data system period, reporting period 2, I think. Is that what we're doing tonight? Is it period 2? Period 1. I always get it backwards in the school year. But they also are going to take the opportunity, I think, to share with you some other interesting information about some of the programs that are in the building. So go ahead. It looks like Jerry is going to start everybody off, or Jason.
Or actually April.
April's going to start everyone off.
So yes, this is the semi-annual report. The report is from the beginning of the school year until really right before Christmas. So it ends at the beginning of January 1. So the information and data that you received tonight are from that time period. The next set of time period, we usually meet, I think, in July or August. That has more data because it also includes the surveys. So we're here today to go over the information and also just highlight those special programs that we have special to North Hanover. A lot of the work is being funded from a DODEA grant called Peace. So we're gonna go over how that has contributed to student success here.
Okay, so what is a HIB self-assessment? Every year our school safety climate committee teams meet together and we do a HIB self-assessment. And typically that's done in early June. And the team consists of teachers, school counselor, and a parent representative as well as myself. We score ourselves on 8 elements. We score ourselves on our HIB programs, any trainings that are conducted school-wide or district-wide, as well as any curriculum or instruction that have been embedded throughout the course of the school year, as well as our how we follow the Board of Ed policy for reporting procedures, as well as making sure that we're adhering to the HIB incident investigation and reporting procedures. So we scored ourselves at the in June. And then this is how we performed as a school district. As you can see, the schools were relatively close with each other. And then our average district score was 67.67. And just to kind of give you a frame of reference, 52 of 78 points would be meeting or passing the state standard. As Ms. Payne mentioned, we're going to be reporting on period 1, and that consists of the beginning of the school year, so approximately September 1st to right before we left for winter break. We're going to do this again, and that would be the results from the midpoint of the school year when we return from winter break up until the very end of the school year. So these were the amount of incidents investigated at each one of the schools. District-wide, we had 10 harassment, intimidation, and bullying investigations. The incidents of HIB that were founded were 8, and then the incidents that were unfounded were 2. So now Mr. Danley is going to talk to you a little bit about some of the programs that we're currently doing here in the North Hanover Township School District.
So if anyone doesn't know me, my name is Jason Danley. I'm one of the building principals at Endeavor Elementary School. My main responsibility there is preschool kindergarten, as well as the director of our preschool program in our district. And I have the honor to talk tonight about our character education initiatives in our district. So things of building resiliency in our students, self-esteem, self-confidence. And I'm just going to highlight some of the things on here, but the first one continues to be our focus of the brain-body connection and understanding the research that has of the impact of students' focus, students' memory, concentration, direct correlation to their mood and motivation on there. So we were able to partner with a company called School Moves that has enhanced our pedagogy of providing intentional movement in class before learning or during learning on there. That was provided through Project Peace, one of our DODEA grants. We had about 50 staff members participate in that professional development opportunity. We did our focus intervention team, our instructional coaches, our behavior coaches from preschool all the way up to 6th grade. We also had our pull-out teachers, our ICR teachers, our special ed teachers involved in that professional development. We're looking forward to kind of continuing that work and getting all staff trained in some type of capacity moving forward on there. But when we can incorporate movement for learning, having cross-lateral movement for students, it is so impactful on there. And I see Ms. Venora is a big advocate for that work. And if you went into her classroom, you would see that happening on there. Something else I'm extremely proud of that happens in all 3 of our buildings is how we have students involved in the school as a community, really coming together to support each other. At UES and CB Lamb, they do whole school-wide morning meetings where everyone comes into the auditorium and gymnasium, and they'll do some activities to build that student cohesion on the same ideas, right? Cooperation, things that we value in character education. At Endeavor, we do it a little bit different. We do grade level, we call them house meetings, but it's still the same concept, where we come together for one belief and making sure that we're all together from students and staff. The Anchored for Life program, which Karen Holman is the leader of, that is a club that puts students in leadership roles and builds on their social skills. Each building has team leaders that have been identified. They do community service projects. You can actually see one of the pictures here is from all 3 of our buildings. They did the cookie operation. So military personnel that are deployed and they didn't have anyone for the holiday, they put together goodie bags and they sent them over to them. And I think we put together about 800 goodie bags for those servicemen and women, which is a great project, and that was directly correlated to the Anchored for Life program on there. Then other things we do as well in the district, Spirit Theme Weeks. You come in the building, you might see, principal in a onesie on there. But they really get the kids involved, and not just the kids, the staff really gets invested in that too. Safety patrol is happening. You see these are the safety patrol at Endeavor Elementary School. Again, putting kids in leadership roles to support each other, where they support kids as they dismiss to the buses. They don't really listen to us, but you put a safety patrol member and you tell them to walk in the hallway, they start walking. Kids leading kids. It's a powerful thing on there. And then at preschool, we have our Lego education, where Michelle Flood developed social skills for our preschoolers to really make them successful in a small group setting, but also turnkey that when they're in the classroom. And hopefully when they're not in the classroom, when they're out at the park. And those are just a list of some of the things that we do in the district. But one thing that's not on here that I really wanted to highlight is the staff at North Hanover, right? The kids learn from us, and the way that the staff interact with each other is how the kids learn, right? So this work is great, but without the dedicated staff in our district of kids seeing role models, that's what it's all about. So for the staff here tonight, I just want to say, we thank you, right? This work can't be done without you and model for each other. I'm in the hallway with, again, Miss Menora preschool, and you're always greeting the kids, always greeting adults as they come by with their name. I like your haircut, your sneakers, something to make them feel connected to the school immediately. So I'm super proud of the work, the proactive work that we do in our district. And I could talk on and on about this, but I'll pass it on to.
This is fine. So the next slide is, the slide before was proactive strategies. So this slide is also titled proactive strategies, but it's a little bit more about staff. We have changed from Handle with Care. We made that transition. We started that transition about 2 years ago. It's fully embedded now from Handle with Care to crisis prevention, CPI. The reason for that change is because it really relies on proactive strategies to de-escalate children who are having a hard time in class. And so it teaches teachers prompts and ways to bring kids down, to have them de-escalate faster, to hopefully avoid being any restraints or any sort of barricade, like protecting the situation. And that has been very successful. We have seen an immediate decrease in our restraints, in the number of restraints since implementing CPI. The other piece is that we have a robust and amazing behavioral coaching staff that is really paired with our classroom teachers to provide them additional tools to help students. Right now, kids need a lot of support. They need a lot of help in their classroom environment, and these behavioral coaches have come beside teachers and worked with them to help our students. We have 5 behaviorists now district-wide. Our special education director, Ms. Blessick, is also a BCBA, and that has done wonderful things. In addition, we have 2 social workers to bridge that piece, helping families find resources to support their students. And then last year, we made some major revisions to our code of conduct, laid it out, and so people had an understanding of our expectations and what the follow-through would be, also creating more consistency amongst all 3 buildings. Then I believe it's
Good evening, I'm Monica Hinger, and I work alongside Mr. Danley at Endeavor for grades 1 to 4. So, as April was sharing, addressing the behavior is something, unfortunately, that we do when our proactive strategies just might not be enough for a specific student. So what we do is we take a data-driven approach. So we're constantly collecting data about our behaviors. It's a team effort all the way down from the teachers to our special teachers to our behaviorists, and we're able to graph that data at a school level and a district level to say, where is it happening? When is it happening? What might be the function of the behavior so that we can put improvement plans in place? And one of the ways that that can look is the creation of action plans. So an action plan is a collection of strategies that is put together by the team that I mentioned for our general education students. So it could be anything from reading social stories before they go to a certain activity that we know might be an area that they were having a struggle. So we're looking at the past and the data in order to match the resources, whether they be personnel or strategies, to the behavior that we're seeing. And if there is a need for these strategies to be put in place for a student with an IEP, that looks like the form of a BIP, which will become part of their individualized education plan. And again, it's to foster these replacement skills specific to the need that the child is showing based on the data that we're collecting over and over and over again. We meet to analyze whether these plans are working based on if there's more incidents or just if there's an uptick, or in constant communication with the teacher and the team in general to see if they need to be modified. If a child does reach the level of a suspension, we're still trying to take those positive behaviors and those restorative approaches even when they reach that level, And one of the ways we do that is after they're out of school, they have to have a mandatory reentry meeting. The reentry meeting includes the parent, an administrator, and oftentimes the student as well. You hear me saying restorative practices, we want the child to be there to hear these practices, so they also know that we're all on the same team with them in a supportive nature. If it is a student that has an IEP, we're also looking to see if perhaps the incident was a manifestation of their disability, so that we can take that into account as to whether if there is a suspension that takes place, or if there's not, or if it's something that we need to take another route due to their plan that's already in place. If a child does have 2 or more suspensions, then a plan is automatically made, because we're seeing that there might be a pattern, and we're trying to be proactive to prevent more suspensions, obviously, for this student. As I had mentioned, we're continually analyzing all of this data, and of course, knock on wood, but we would contact law enforcement if need be, if the situation was of a dangerous nature in any way. So they are some of our ways that we're addressing behavior, but we also want to thank our board, because without you, we wouldn't be able to have the programs that Mr. Danley shared with you in order to be preventative and proactive with all of these behaviors that we're speaking about tonight. So thank you.
And that has concluded our presentation. Does the Board of Education have any questions? Thank you.
Appreciate your time, thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Payne, can I just piggyback off of something that Mrs. Warwick said to support when you talked about the behavior? Sorry, can I? Before
Yes.
you guys might. When Mrs. Warwick pointed out how many behavior specialists there are, this is just something that popped in my head. The in the moment lessons that we get from them are so vital. Like, I have a lot of behavior experience, but there's still things that Michelle Flood had, like, in the moment something's happening, and I might, piggyback off of her and say, this is how I'm handling this. Do you, to get that feedback from her right away, like, we have those people to give us that feedback right away, and I just think that's like so huge, been such a difference, because coming out of college, I didn't know any of that. This stuff wasn't going on 2005 when I started here, so like having all that support, and our social workers, especially, I can talk to preschool at least, everything. Like, that's another thing, like, I've been able, and I'm talking to my experience just because it's easier. There's been situations where I've had both Mrs. Flood and Tierney, and we've all 3 of us been able to kind of like debrief right after and really have like nice open conversations, and I like the behavior team has like just all those people helping as much as they can, unless there are situations where they might not be available right then and there, but we have so many conversations with them, and I think it's been really helpful too for a lot of the younger staff, like come and you're kind of like shell shocked when you're not prepared for something, and to be able to have all those resources is huge. So thank you again.
Yep.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
asking.
us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're gonna circle back around, let's do the executive session now. Should be about maybe 20 minutes or so.
Principals, if you don't want to stay.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Keisha Gone, thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
back in you.
Any communications?
Yeah, so I believe you all were sent, I just wanna make sure you all have them, you were sent 2 emails. One was from Mr. Janice following up about his comment, during your 218 board meeting, about the board's presentation, he said he was support for that. An email, and the other was from Mrs. Neely in support of Mrs. Kane, and then his, decision to not renew her contract.
Are we gonna go over the budget?
So I sent you out the budget, just to remind you of the process. The budget would be tentatively adopted tonight. It goes to the county office, Department of Education for approval, by tomorrow. And then they, once they approve it, we will advertise it in the newspaper. It becomes public information, it'll be posted on our website, and we will have a public hearing on that budget on May 6th. And the budget can be changed up to and including the night of the public hearing. The total budget this year is $34,723,000, of which, it's recommended that $3,504,000 would be in a tax levy. That would be a 2% increase, which totals $68,708. The average home in North Hanover would have a $108 per year increase from that. We did have increases in state aids of $1.5 million. I've worked with the bank, we have some additional interest and increase in our interest rates, so additional revenue of $40,000 of that. And we did increase our impact aid revenue by $490,000. Most of the increases in our budget, as far as expenses go, have come from the addition of transportation routes for students that are out of district, or the cost of the routes themselves. That has increased by about $540,000. We had a 12% increase in our health insurance premiums. We've had increases in our liability insurance. We do have some additional capital improvements in the budget of $144,000. The HVAC system at the maintenance and cafeteria building is almost dying. So there was $100,000 to repair that. Our required contribution to the pre-K program for the integrated program, that increased by $50,000. We have a lot of significant changes in special education, increases in the services and tuition. Our salaries are increasing due to percentage increase and additional staffing by $1.1 million. We did try to reduce and reallocate funding. We used to have a contract with a company for student intense counseling services, and we've reclassed those funds to provide the class 3 officers and 2 social workers in the buildings. We've had decreases in our curriculum requirements. Actually, we bought a lot of a brand new ELA program. The year before, we had bought brand new math programs. So we've taken those funds and reallocated them to offset all of these costs, and eliminating the amount of effect on the taxpayers to invest. I know I sent it out to you guys on Friday. I don't know if anybody had any specific questions they wanted to ask me.
The extraordinary services, what was that? That was big.
So those are basically one-to-one aids for students. We have 3 students that are currently in an out-of-district placement, and we are sending 3 employees there to be one-to-one aids with those students. And we are struggling with that out-of-district placement, that any time our staff is absent, they're charging us $275 a day for a substitute, and I'm fighting that with them right now because I don't think it's justified. So our thought process was we would contract that instead of employing those people now, because if I contract with an outside provider, if their employee is absent, they send a substitute on their behalf, so I won't get charged by the out-of-district placement. The out-of-district placement used to provide their own staff as your aide, so if you sent your student to their school and they needed an aide, they provided the aide. They're not doing that anymore. So I am debating and negotiating and fighting about the $275 a day, for when our staff is absent. And then it's a cumulative absence, so basically once the 3 aides are absent more than 10 days, I start getting charged, for the cover. So our thought process was to contract that instead of employee 50 days.
This might be a time to check out the contracts up for people. Wouldn't that be spoken to in the contract?
Yes, well, this is just for their professional services, like if that contract says these services. They sprung the substitute thing on us over the summer, it was never in it.
But for each one of those kids, you have a tuition, right? So maybe that's at the point of placement, you know,
Right.
maybe write it into the tuition.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand their plight, right? So my staff member is absent and they are finding the replacement for my absent staff member and it's costing them money. So I understand their problem. I don't understand the cost that they're charging us.
Well, actually, the problem is created by the fact that they don't provide the aids in the first
Right, if they
place.
just provide the aid, we wouldn't have a problem. So I understand it, I just
They
don't.
would charge us for it, but.
Right, I just don't understand the cost behind it. I would bring those 3 staff members that are there back to our district. But that's why that number went up, because they're different calendars.
The security services, I'm assuming that's.
That's
also-
the services.
Mhm.
So if you see in the budget, like under, the 11, 190, 100, 340, that went down $864,000 from last year, so they just took that money and moved it to pass it, and then moved it
officers.
up to the social workers to provide those services ourselves.
And for the bank, you had mentioned about the interest rates. Do schools can they only have special bank accounts? Or can you get a bank account anywhere?
No, you can do it anywhere, I would have to do an RFP, so you have 2 different banks right now, you have First Bank and TD Bank.
Like our main interest on capital reserves, is that the main account? It's got like,
No, capital reserve is a small account that you have that only has $2 million in it.
okay,
So if the board made a motion at the end of any school year, with extra funds that we may have, you could move those into capital reserve to pay for capital projects in the future. You have just generally funded your capital projects with your impact aid funding, reserves, not your capital.
okay. Now what about, there's a impact aid account, isn't there, with like $30 million?
There's an impact aid account with $15 million in it, and that's worth $125,000. Between the combination of that, and then there's another small one, $4 million.
Do we get any kind of interest on that?
Yeah, you have interest in all of it.
Okay. It just seems like a small, I mean, nowadays a much higher interest.
There are,
But-
and currently collecting, anywhere on your main account, like $90,000 a month.
Okay,
I just don't know if that's gonna continue.
okay.
And so if we budget revenue too high and we don't hit those targets, then we're gonna have to cut expenses in the middle of the school.
Right.
If we get more in, we can allocate the revenue during the school year for some unexpected.
Right, you wanna make sure.
Right.
That's really all I have. Do 2%?
No, I'll go 30%.
We don't have to vote tonight.
Well, they have to vote.
Oh,
for the
you
tentative budget.
tentatively, okay.
So I can get the county by tomorrow.
Yeah. But they're not voting for an actual levy, they're voting just to submit to the county for review.
Right, we can still change it.
Nancy, I know you wanted to bring up something, right, about the term?
We'll be under legal services,
Yeah.
when we get to 10.12, we're not there yet, are we?
Nope.
I know we had a meeting or a presentation last meeting from school boards. That's something that we need to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it to me, so I don't know what tier plan you wanted to hire the consulting firm for. I would be fine with doing the top one. It's the
I'm
most-
fine with it.
It's the most turnkey, transparent, they do everything, they work on goals when everything's going. I don't know. If you have comments on that or?
Well, I am concerned that, they gave us a presentation, I was expecting to hear a presentation on what services they offered. And basically, they gave us a presentation that was geared to our district with the costs and so forth. I'm further concerned, and I understand that if we do enter into a contract with them, we can provide them with a list of our requirements for anyone that they should pick as a candidate for our position. I understand, of course, the certificates they have to have, I mean, that's not something we override, but I think since we have such a high, impact with military and with impact aid, that we definitely need to put on our list of requirements that the person who gets recommended for the superintendent in this district have experience and working experience with impact aid, and that's at the bare minimum. I would like to increase that to a much higher level, requesting that we get someone who is serving on one of the two boards, maybe from NISA, in that regard, because we definitely need someone who has a good, strong working knowledge of impact aid if they're going to be hired by this district to work here. And I'm going a little off the subject, but when Mr. Payne was hired, Dr. Carson was hired by the previous board to serve for 3 years to assist and teach her the ins and outs of impact aid, and that was very, very important for our district. And our previous board maintained this, kept Dr. Carson on our payroll for 3 years until they felt that Mrs. Payne was able to take over and provide the services that we need to have provided. And I think if whoever we choose, first of all, I don't think we should choose anyone unless they have some working knowledge and experience with impact aid. It's extremely, extremely important to our district. And if we enter into any kind of a contract with the school boards, that needs to be at the top of our list of requirements, plus the certificates that they have to have. So I believe we need to work on that.
It's right on, it, developing board criteria, so that's, we'll sit down with us and we'll give them
Okay.
exactly what we're looking for.
And we would work on this as a board.
And they go to the public, they
Right,
do.
we work on this as a board.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah,
Okay.
100%, yep.
A lot of things happen here that aren't worked on as a board.
Nope, that is done as a board. So you're okay, we're gonna put that on the agenda tonight?
I'm okay with it.
The top tier plan?
I believe so.
Okay. Make a motion to add that to the agenda.
Second.
As a motion to add school boards, what's the price point? I just didn't have that proposal.
It's 615,000.
Okay.
Now, do we have to adjust our budget to put that in our budget?
No, that's coming from this year.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna find money somewhere to move it. You're gonna
Okay.
approve a transfer.
Okay, very good.
Should be under other businesses?
We could put it under finance, since it's contract for services. All in favor of adding that to the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. So that'll be item number,
14.
yeah, 10.14.
Any public comment on agenda items? Seeing none. Personnel, number 8, make a motion to approve the following personnel action based on the recommendation of the superintendent. 8.1 through 8.11.
Second?
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. Greenlander?
Yes.
Mr. Green? Mr. Reddick?
Yes. Number 9, instructional. Motion to approve the following instructional items based on the recommendation of the superintendent. 9.1, 9.2.
Second?
Mr. Greenlander?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes. Number 10, financial. Motion to approve the following financial items based on the recommendation of the superintendent. 10.1 through 10.14.
Exception of 10.12. Question on that item.
Two.
1, 2.
Oh.
Legal service.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So are you going to vote on the others and then come back to that, or do you want to discuss that now?
You can discuss it now.
Okay, we currently have a, contract for legal services with, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, here in Jacoby Law Firm. Mr. Padilla worked for them as a member, and while he was working with that law firm, he attended meetings of negotiations with the, Teachers Association. He worked for us, basically, he was paid by us, and I would suggest that he, as he had worked for us, he should provide us with some information regarding what he did while he was working for us in this particular regard. I understand on February 17th, he started his own firm, and he has since asked that we appoint his firm as a special counsel. I'm presuming it is for the teacher negotiations.
It's general counsel we use it for.
Okay, we already have a law firm which we are paying. I question why we should have a special counsel if we already have a law firm who has other members of the firm who can come to our meetings, who can deal with our questions, our legal questions. Why should we hire an additional person, basically an additional firm, to do the same job? Basically, that's my question. I don't think we have any need to hire Mr. Padua as a special counsel. It was his choice that he left the firm that was hired by us, and I don't believe that we should pay him separately and continue to pay our law firm when the law firm has worked with us for years and has other members in their firm who could come and do this job that Mr. Padua is asking us to hire him to do.
Just to clarify, I think, even if we were to hire him, we only pay him for services that he provides. It's not like we hire him. We only pay him for services he provides.
That's
So
correct.
we wouldn't be hiring and paying him and then also paying another firm just to hire him. And I know that Cam does a lot of our special ed stuff, and he was gonna continue to do that. Bruce was he's been here in the district for a very long time, before I was here. He knows the district well, he's given us good advice over the years. He made a decision to go back to the firm, and I'm comfortable with going along with him, and also keeping Cam on when we did for the special ed stuff.
We have that firm as our legal firm. Mr. Cam or some other member of that firm could take over the negotiations that Mr. Padua has been working on. I don't see any need to hire a special counsel to do this job when we have hired a legal firm to handle our legal problems or our legal concerns. Why would you recommend hiring a special counsel separately?
It says special counsel, so it's not for the negotiations. I was there for that meeting. There was nothing discussed, it was more of just setting up future meeting dates.
Oh,
So,
that's, yeah.
So he's not privy to
So then why are we hiring him?
because he's been our attorney for years, so we're just
He's
following.
been part of the firm that we've had for years. He left that firm. He started his own firm.
But
Why
Bruce-
would we
Bruce has been
hire him
our
when we
attorney.
already have a firm in place to handle our legal problems? Why would we do that?
I understand what you're saying. Since
Good.
I've been here, Bruce has been here at the majority of the meetings and is the most familiar with our district. So personally, even though I don't agree with everything that I've heard, I would rather keep him on. That's just my opinion. I don't always agree with him, but it makes sense to me.
And this is just giving us the option to use him, doesn't mean we need to.
I still believe that it is something that we should not be doing. If we hired someone to, I don't know anything we hired people for, we hired someone for transportation, would we then hire someone else for transportation to do the same thing? No, we already have a legal firm to handle our legal problems. And they should be able to provide the services that we need if they are hired and contracted by us to do so. I don't see any reason why we should hire Mr. Padua to be on, I guess, standby as a special counsel. Why do we need a special counsel? Yes, he knows about this district, but, the firm also knows about this district. There are other members of the firm that have worked with us, so it's not like we're going out and picking some attorney off the street. We have a legal firm that we have contracted with to do our legal work.
A substitute lawyer has been here, it's been somebody different.
Pardon me?
I've seen the same attorney's face, I think, twice now. This is the second time I think I've met Cam. Usually it's just somebody who happened to be available to fill in. So, I haven't seen a steady representative except for Bruce.
So you're saying the contract with the law firm of Cleary and Jacoby would then become null and void?
I don't know, I'm not saying.
Well, this is what you're asking,
I'm
right?
saying I'm comfortable with Bruce, that's all I'm
That
saying.
is, hiring Bruce on does not null and void the contract.
I still have yet to see, hear from any of you, a reason why we should not continue with the law firm.
You may not agree
Excuse
with
me,
my
may I
reason,
finish?
excuse me, you may not agree with my reason,
Excuse
but
me,
to
I
say
have
that
the
I've
floor,
given you
sir.
no reason,
Mr. Redding, I have the
I'll be
floor.
quiet, I apologize.
We've given you reasons. You said that we're comfortable with Bruce, he's been here for a very long time, and you don't agree with that, and that's fine. But we're comfortable with Bruce, we're not getting rid of Cam and their firm, we're just, Bruce is available if we need him for certain things.
Of course he's available. He started a new firm. I find that we are all already paying a law firm, that we should not need an additional law firm in this district. Enough said.
Any other questions about that?
I have one.
I just need a second. On motions.
Oh, obviously.
You were the first, I
I
just
first.
need a second.
Second,
What is
I didn't
your-
second it because we were discussing.
No, I know, that's fine. I just needed a second on all the finance motions.
Including this one that I have objected to.
Correct. So it would be 10.1 to 10.14.
Correct.
Mr. Green? Mrs. Morrow?
No.
So all?
No to, 10.12. Thank you.
And yes to the rest?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Ringlinger?
Yes.
Mr. Redding?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 11, travel, motion to approve the following travel items based on the recommendations of the superintendent. It's listed below.
Second?
Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. Dreilinger?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes. Number 12, transportation. Motion to approve the following other business items based on the recommendation of the superintendent. 12.1, 12.3.
Second.
Mr. Dreilinger?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes. Number 13, other business. Motion to approve the following other business items based on the recommendation of the superintendent. 13.1, 13.5.
Second.
Mr. Green? Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. Dreilinger?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes. 14, superintendent report.
So last week we were in Washington for the spring NAFIS meeting and the associated advocacy. I attended the NAFIS board meeting on Saturday and the MISA meeting also on Saturday, and the state chair meeting on Sunday, and the MISA breakfast meeting on Monday, and the rest of the time was filled in with the main NAFIS meeting. The theme of all of the meetings was general uncertainty. Everybody was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen in terms of a budget for the federal government. But we went forth and advocated strongly to message that impact aid was vitally important, that we supported maintaining the impact aid, the Office of Impact Aid intact, because they're a very efficient, effective, transparent, helpful office, really well informed. They function in a way that we've just not ever seen the impact aid office function in all the years that I've been doing this. So that was part of the messaging. We asked for additional appropriations for FY25. We met with 9 different offices on Capitol Hill Day. I would say the reception was good in all the offices, although, folks were tired, to put it nicely. And then an additional one of the New Jersey offices, Amy and I had she was on the same team, had met with in February, so we skipped that office this time. So there were really only, I think, 3 offices that we weren't able to get FaceTime with. But as you all know, the outcome of, we did that on Wednesday. By Friday, there was a vote. The vote was for a continuing resolution. The continuing resolution funds the federal government through the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th. It funds it at the FY24 level, so whatever we got in FY24, that's what all the programs got in FY25, unless they were specifically cut. And there were no additional appropriations for FY25. So that's what we have to live with. I think for us, in terms of impact aid, that's probably going to represent about an $800,000 decrease in impact aid for that fiscal year. So now it's time to get to work for FY26 and hopefully I'm gonna be super optimistic. Before September 30th of 2025, we'll have an FY26 budget that will give us increased appropriations, and we'll just be able to smoothly sail into FY26, or you all will. So that was kind of the financial side of the meeting. I was really pleased to have Mr. Danley with us this time. He was able to go to all the meetings with us. The reason he was there is because he was presenting to all of our national colleagues about the programs that we have in this district and the work that we do here. His session was done in collaboration with the folks from Fort Leavenworth in Kansas, who Mr. Danley met through some of the summer work that we do with the other districts. So that was really very exciting. I was really proud of him and the people that he was working with, and his session was really well received. And as he kind of alluded to earlier, that work is about the connection between the brain, learning, and movement for children. And the nice thing about it was, yeah, we have some high-tech equipment here that assists with that, but there's a lot of really super low-tech, no-cost things that you can do with kids also, so that was part of the messaging that they shared with our colleagues around the country. We had a lot of turnout from the Indian Lands districts too, I noticed, which I thought was really exciting. Back to the CR, I'm also happy to report that the Starbase that closed down can now reopen. because there is some funding. They're gonna have to do some budgetary adjustments because they're not funded. They're funded not at an FY '25 level that they had hoped to be funded at, but at the FY '24 level. But they will be able to reopen, so that's good. We're gonna work on that this week and get them back on track, get kids back into the star base. I found out today that the Department of Defense impact aid is going to remain intact, and that's good news. And the Department of Defense extraordinary special ed aid is intact also in the CR. So we weren't able, I didn't even get to tell you that yet. I just found that out right before the meeting. We were worried about that because that money, that represents almost $1 million to us between the two. So had they not made it through the CR, we would have lost that money. Back home, we held our annual family literacy night. It was well attended. Kids seemed to have a lot of fun. Our reading specialist, Mrs. Peter, helped coordinate that with a team of our teachers. Lots of activities for the kids to participate in to build a love of reading. We were able to share with parents of our youngest readers, I think it was for pre-K and K, sort of a parent manual on helping your kid develop as a reader. So parents seem to really enjoy having access to that. We also had Read Across America in all of our schools. We had parents, community members, representatives from JBMDL, representatives from our police department. I think we might have had someone from our fire department come in and read to our students during that week. And I know UES had a read-a-thon that was really well received. Kids had a lot of fun with. I think the PTO even raised some money for that. With that, and now we're looking forward to April. That's the month of the military child. All of the kids will have, all of the schools will have activities planned to purple up and recognize the month of the military child. We have some distinguished visitors coming to visit some of our schools for that. I think Nikki's going to be involved with us with that. I know that the unit that I'm the honorary commander for over on the installation is going to come with some of their nifty equipment and share that with our kids, so we're all looking forward to that. And then there's also a recognition ceremony right on JBMDL. Our 6th graders from this building will be singing the Star Spangled Banner there, and then we'll have student representatives from each of the buildings there to sign the proclamation proclaiming a month of the military child. I think it's also Autism Awareness Month, so we'll be developing our students' understanding of their peers with autism and helping them to be better educated about some of the challenges that our students with autism face. And then we're gearing up for NJSLA testing. Nobody's favorite time of year, but everybody's getting geared up for it anyway because it's coming. And at the next board meeting in April, our Anchored for Life students will be here with Mrs. Hallman to celebrate the work that they do in terms of peer leadership and resiliency and service and some of the things that our principals talked about earlier tonight. So that's my report.
Next meeting is that gonna be an auditorium?
Yes, it will be in the auditorium because the kids usually bring in family members and it's quite a few people. Yeah. It's a lot. Not a lot.
Mrs. Pullman has a lot of energy.
Yes, she does.
All right, any old business or new business?
Yes, I have 2 items for old business.
Sure.
The first item, the old business, is only about 10 minutes old. When we were discussing the appointment of Mr. Padua, I am asking if any of my fellow board members have any social relationships with Mr. Padua or anything going with him that would prevent you from voting on this issue.
I have no.
Yeah, I wouldn't, don't answer that in public. I'm sorry, if they did, and they would have just voted on a resolution for his contract, it could present a problem for them ethically, so.
Okay, so. if
Just
I
trying to
can
protect you all.
But you can back another time under another way to do it. Okay, I've been reading up on a lot of this. Okay, second old business regards the Negotiations Committee. Under Board Policy 0155, it may be created or changed by a committee, may be created or changed by the president. The committee may consist of no more than 2 members and the board president, who will serve as an ex officio member, but will not sit on committee meetings if he creates a quorum of the board. Now, I'm not quite sure what they're saying there, but it sounds to me like the president can appoint a committee of no more than 2 people, and he would be an ex officio member on that committee, but could not sit on the committee meetings. Am I interpreting this statement correctly? It's from our policy.
If you have 3, you're a board of 5 members?
Yes.
If you have 3 members in a committee, then the committee meetings would have to meet the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. So that's why the membership's restricted to 2, so there's not a quorum.
Okay, so the president could be an ex officio member, but could not attend any of the meetings of that committee.
That's right. If 3 board members are together for the purposes of board business, that's a board meeting for purposes of the Open Public Meetings Act. And you'd have to have 48 hours notice to the papers and everything.
Can the board president be a member of the committee?
I'd have to look at your policy. It sounds like you already are an ex officio member. You're asking, could you have a committee comprised of you and 1 other board member?
Right.
But do you serve on any other committees?
We don't have it.
No.
Well, I guess it would depend how your policy's worded. I have to pull that up. Yeah, the way she made it sound like you appoint 2 other members other than yourself. Keep in mind, the board can always amend its own policy. There's nothing illegal about the board president and 1 other member of a 5-member board serving as the negotiations committee, providing either one of the 2 is conflicted. It's just a question of whether you're gonna comply with your own
I
policy.
mean, that's how it's always been done, even with Sullivan this year and Schroeder.
Let me take a look at the policy when I get back to the office tomorrow, and I'll give you guys an opinion if that's permissible.
I'm assuming that's what you're getting at, that's why I asked the question.
Who's the current committee members?
Me and Anthony.
Okay.
This committee was addressed, but never voted on. There was never any, it also further states in the board policy that other members of the board may request to serve on this committee. But membership on this committee was never opened to the board members. It was decided by Mr. Redden that he and Mr. Grimmer would be the committee members from this board. And it was not ever officially voted on, noted, whatever, to the rest of the board members, which concerns me because I would have wanted to serve on that committee. And it was just kind of, I don't think it was handled properly, but again, that's just my own opinion. And when I read through the policy, I was, what you had said initially here, that it would be 2 members of the board on the committee, and the president would serve as an ex officio member. But we don't have 2 members and the president, we have the president and 1 member. So that is my question, and I don't know how to address it, whether we should look into revising the committee, which I would suggest, and I guess let you look the policy first and make a determination.
I'll give you guys some guidance on it tomorrow.
Okay. That's it.
That's how we've always done the meeting. I've been on negotiations for 3 different times. That's how it was always handled. It's never been voted on. You don't vote on it. The president appoints the committee. So Cam can look at it and let us know what he thinks. We're gonna open up the public session.
Surprise. I just wanted to point out for the association, we have Tammy and myself, which are the co-presidents, and so Ms. Jody Carson right here is our membership chair. We just wanna let you know, we've provided for literacy night, we provided take home bags for all
Sorry.
of the, no, it's okay,
Should've
it's
said.
okay, I don't expect you to remember the
They were
500
big
things you have going on at one time. I just wanted to, shout out the, our education association, and, it's not just the teachers, it's the ed assistants, it's our custodial staff, it's all of our ESPs. At preschool night, we also provided take-home bags, so we do a lot of things to support our special family nights. And we're gonna continue to support that as much as we can. So I just wanted to, there's a lot of people not here that are a huge part of that. So anything that, we're always open to also, anything with the board and our administration, you guys know that. So I just wanted to, let you know that. And I just had a question, Mrs. Payne, since Starbase is being able to restart, are those people, the same people, gonna be able to be put in place? If they haven't had.
Yes,
found a
so they
job.
were technically rift, and so they will have the opportunity to come back.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Next.
I have a question. Catherine Wolf. My question is, I'm not sure who can answer this, but I was looking for some clarification on the timeline or specific timeline, or if it's an ethic policy in regards to reviewing and approving the session minutes for each meeting. Is there a particular time that you guys have in order to review that, approve that at a meeting, and then post that for the public to see?
The law just says, reasonably prompt. In my experience, that's usually anywhere from like 60 days to, 45 days to 60 days, something like that.
Okay.
Might be a little longer.
Is the hang up just that it has to be reviewed by the board, so?
So,
We post the minutes,
Are you talking about board minutes?
Yes.
we post the minutes within 24 hours of the board meeting after they approve.
oh, she's good. That's reasonably
Because-
prompt.
minutes or executive
The board minutes, so like for this meeting, for example.
So that means you're at
Will it have to
31.
be reviewed at the next meeting and approved
Right.
before it's posted? So essentially that's a month later then, that
If you have
the
your board
public
meetings
won't
on
have
Friday.
access to what happened at this meeting? That's just what I wanna clarify.
They'll have the agenda for the meeting.
Right, but they
get
won't-
the official minutes until it's approved by the board at the following meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments?
That's quick. You take good notes too. Handwriting is very neat.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.